Hello and welcome back. This is Dr. Edward Padama and this is our lesson 3 for educational technology. But before we start, please support the channel by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell to alert you when a new video is uploaded. Let's start. For our recap of the previous lesson, we were able to discuss parts of the educational technology consideration, specifically software tools, software types, integrated learning systems, equipment, multimedia integration, and audio-video conferencing. So from this point, we're going to continue with the remaining part of the educational technology considerations. The next EdTech consideration is distance education. So distance education is a strategy that involves the use of technology. So by definition, distance education, also known as distance learning, is the education of students who may not always be physically present at a school. So the geographical location is considered in the distance education. Traditionally, this usually involved correspondence courses wherein the students corresponded with the school via post. Today, it involves online education. So again, the geographical location of the student and the teacher is the main element in distance education. But to help the learning process, technology comes into the strategy. Distance learning program can be completely distance learning or a combination of distance learning and traditional or conventional classroom instruction, which includes face-to-face or F2F setups. This is called hybrid or blended learning. Massive online or open online courses offering large-scale interactive participation and open access through the World Wide Web or WWW or other network technologies are recent educational modes in distance education. So all of this that were mentioned are under distance education. So these are modes of learning. A number of other terms like distributed learning, e-learning, m-learning or mobile learning, online learning, virtual classroom, and others are usually used roughly synonymously with distance education. So we have to consider this strategy when implementing educational technology in our class, because there are still other factors that will come in when we talk about distance education, like the availability of the gadgets, accessibility of the signal or the internet or the Wi-Fi, or if the student or learner is just using paid data. So these are all considerations that we need to take into when implementing distance education. Most of us have experienced this next EdTech consideration, and this is the classroom configuration. This basically refers to the physical arrangement of classroom furnitures during face-to-face class meetings. This arrangement affects the learning styles of the students, and it is defined as classroom arrangement or the arrangement of furniture is an important aspect because students spend most of their time seated in the classroom. This was during face-to-face classroom meetings. The furniture should be able to move and easy to arrange to allow students to sit in places that are best suited for their learning styles so that they can focus on their work. So the figure on the right side presents the pros and cons of the configuration. Okay, another type of classroom configuration is called clusters. So this is predominantly learner-centered instruction for small groups, cell groups, and is suitable for all class sizes. So the pros and cons are listed at the figure. You can just take note of that, and I'll show you another type of classroom configuration on the next slide. I am going to present another configuration, And this is the horseshoe or U-type configuration. Usually, this is used not only in classrooms but also in conferences and in meetings. So again, I will not go through the pros and cons one by one anymore. You can just take a photo or screenshot and then make sure you take note of these elements in this classroom configuration. The next EdTech consideration is a web board. So this is what a web board looks like during our time. And this is also known as a thread. The photos of the users on the right side, together with the text highlighted in color blue, are the topics that were posted by the users. So if you click this user or the text that they posted, you will go inside a chat room wherein you can react or interact based on the topic or subject that was posted or shared in the thread. So by definition, a web board is an internet site where users can post messages, tutorials, information, and topics for discussion. This is also known as an internet forum or a message board. This is an online discussion site where people can hold conversations in the form of posted messages. So there are other forms of web board right now that we can use for our students during our class online. So this is just to give you an idea of the function and objective of a web board. The next EdTech consideration are web pages. So web pages are similar to the pages of a book. So these web pages are bounded together in what we call a website. So by definition, a web page is a specific collection of information provided by a website and displayed to a user through the use of a web browser. A website typically consists of many web pages linked together in a coherent fashion. The name web page is a metaphor of paper pages bound together into a book. The next EdTech consideration is the internet. So the internet is the interconnection of networks. A network is divided as the connection of two or more computers sharing files, documents, and information to and from one computer to another. So with the use of the internet, it is at the tip of our fingers that we can access any information that we like anywhere around the world. And not only information, but it also gives us access to communication. So the internet is a global system of interconnected computer networks that uses internet protocols to communicate between networks and devices. Communication happens because of the sharing of files, documents, and information. It is a network of networks that consist of private, public, academic, business, government networks of local to global scope, linked by a broad array of electronic, wireless, and optical networking technologies. So compared to a brain, because the original term used for the internet is neural network, because of the complexity of the connections of these computers, it was compared to the pathways of the neurons around the brain, because until now, it has not yet been mapped. So like the brain, the internet does not have a specific and accurate map of how many computers are interconnected with one another. The internet carries a vast range of information resources and services such as interlinked hypertext documents, applications of the World Wide Web, electronic mail, telephony, and file sharing, just to name a few. The next EdTech consideration is software review and evaluation. So not all softwares available should be used during our class. There should be a mechanics, a procedure on how to approve and then use these softwares for teaching and learning process. So this is defined as a procedure to select appropriate software for specific grade levels and the content areas appropriate for this level. this is a procedure on how to evaluate the effectiveness of this software and what type of softwares are available. Teachers need to be thoroughly familiar with many of the software options available and understand when and how to use them in the classroom. So the discretion will begin with the teachers, and then it can be or it may be approved or subject to the approval of the head, and then ultimately the administrator or the principal of the institution. So for every institution, there's a different mechanics, there's a different procedure. So you have to be familiar what is the procedure in proposing for a software used for this grade level. So this will be the last EdTech consideration that we will be having for this video, and then for the remaining part of the considerations, again we'll continue with the next video for educational technology. Hello, and thank you for staying with us and listening to the discussion about educational technology considerations, and we will be discussing the remaining elements on the next video. So before we go, I would like to share you a quote from Albert Einstein saying, "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." This is something to think about. And then before you go, please support the channel by clicking the subscribe button and the notification button to alert you when a new video is uploaded. And if you have any questions regarding EdTech or educational technology or research writing, place them or put them at the comment box below this video and I will immediately get back to you. Again, God bless and stay safe. Bye!